Our story today is about a girl named Lisa, and we see her driving her car on a completely empty highway while she is traveling to meet her fiancé. The trip was long and tiring, so she decided to pull over to the side to rest a bit. At that time, her sister called her on the phone and asked her, "Did you really decide to get married for good?" So Lisa smiled and said to her, "Yes, of course." But from behind that smile, it was clear on her that she was not happy inside and not flying with joy. And after she hung up the line, she continued her way until she reached a crossroads with two choices: a straight road, which is the fast and short one, and a second road to the left, but a very long detour. And Lisa thought for seconds and chose the longer road. And the truth is that Lisa was not excited about this marriage at all, and the whole matter is that they had been together for a long time. So she agreed when he proposed marriage to her, and that was it. And her fiancé was not bad. He was just busy with his work more than necessary, and he had no big flaw. But Lisa always had inside her a feeling that she was not the one choosing the path of her life, and she always left the circumstances to take her as they come. And while she was drowning in these thoughts of hers, suddenly the car broke down and stopped with her in the middle of the road. And she got out to look at it, but she did not understand anything about mechanics. And the bigger problem was that the phone network was completely dead, so she went back and sat inside the car waiting for anyone to pass by to help her. And from so much waiting, she got thirsty, so she opened a can of sparkling water. But as soon as she opened it, it soaked all her clothes. And while she was still getting ready to change these clothes, suddenly a strange man appeared whom she did not know. So Lisa adjusted her clothes quickly and started talking to him. And it turned out that he was a traveler wandering with a bag on his back and walking on his feet. And when he learned that her car was broken down, he said to her that he did not have a phone, but he could try to fix it. And indeed, after a bit of effort and using a wrench, he managed to start the car. And Lisa wanted to give him money for his trouble, but he smiled and refused and said to her that he helps for God and for the country like that, and that is it. And even though he appeared as a respectable and kind man, Lisa remained cautious and did not agree to let him ride with her. And she drove off after that with the car and left him. And while she was driving, she looked in the mirror and found him standing in his place looking at her as she was moving away. So it was hard on her, and she decided to stop and go back to take him with her and drop him off. And this man, by the way, turned out his name was Jack, and he rode with her, and they started talking and joking. And the atmosphere between them became very nice to the point that when she reached the entrance of the highway, she did not stop the car. And that is because she enjoyed the company and did not want the trip to end. And she asked him, "Where are you going like this?" So he replied to her and said to her that he would spend the night in a lodge on the road. So Lisa was silent for seconds and said to him that she was also tired and needed to rest and would spend the night there too. And Lisa was not aware at all of the big mistake she was making, because after minutes Jack's style changed completely and he started saying to her that their meeting was not just a coincidence. No, this is destiny and written for them from a long time. And this talk worried Lisa and suspicion showed on her. But the real shock was when Jack crossed all boundaries and started talking to her with lack of manners and in a way that would annoy anyone. And at that time Lisa was shocked at first, but quickly she took her decision and stopped the car on the side and told him to get out immediately. And here Jack bared his fangs and appeared in his true form, and his features changed completely. And he took out a small knife from his pocket and threatened her with it, and told her to carry out everything he would ask of her without any breath. And he put the responsibility on her and said to her that she was the one who let him ride with her, and she was the one who also suggested they go to the hotel, so stop acting innocent with him. And at that time Lisa was terrified, and there was no solution in front of her except to obey him and move the car. And Jack said to her that he was taking her to the old death place, which is abandoned and closed for years. And here Lisa felt the coldness of fear walking through her body, and she knew that if she arrived there a disaster would happen to her, and she started sweating from the tension and thinking how to escape. And in the middle of her terror, she noticed that Jack was not wearing the seat belt. And at that same moment, a very difficult and dangerous curve appeared in front of her on the road. So Lisa took a suicidal decision in 1 second and stepped on the gas to the end and turned the car with all its speed into that curve. And when Lisa opened her eyes, she was not comprehending what happened. And when she focused, she found the car completely overturned on its roof, and she was hanging upside down in the seat belt. And she looked outside and found Jack thrown out of the car and lying on the asphalt and not moving at all. as if he was unconscious or dead. And Lisa felt that her plan succeeded despite the high price she paid. And she tried to unfasten the belt, but she was surprised that her left leg was stuck and squeezed very hard under the dashboard of the car and not moving at all. So she tried to free it with her hands, but the broken glass and the jagged iron cut her hands and hurt them badly. And the only advantage was that even though she was trapped, she was able to reach some things around her. So she took a jacket and cut a piece from it and tied her hand wound with it to stop the bleeding. And after that she kept searching for her phone to call the police, but she did not find it at all. And at that time she looked outside and found Jack starting to wake up and move, and she also spotted his knife lying on the ground close to the car. So she stretched her hands to their limit, but the knife was a bit far, so she kept using the things around her until she succeeded in pulling the knife and keeping it with her. But as soon as she did that, she found Jack crawling until he reached the car and looked at her through the glass. And when he saw her legs stuck and unable to move, a very wicked smile appeared on his face, and he decided to leave her to die and suffer here alone. And indeed he left her and walked away. And Lisa kept screaming and asking for help and hitting the car's horn. But the place was a cut-off forest and no one heard her at all. And the night came and the cold increased, and she was still trapped too. So she took out a jacket from the clothes around her and put it on. And suddenly she heard sounds coming from the forest. So she feared they were predatory animals and quickly turned off the car's light. And with time and fatigue, she slept in her place. And the next day, she kept waiting for anyone to pass by all day long, but not even one car passed on the road. And another day passed while she did not know what to do, until she heard the sound of 2 feet steps and looked and found that Jack was the one who came back to her a second time. And Jack said to her that he found a small cabin a few kilometers away, and there was no one living in it now. And Lisa did not understand why he came back in the first place, but she asked him to wet her neck with water and eat a bite. So Jack sat in front of her with complete coldness and started eating and drinking in front of her eyes while she, oh poor thing, was dying of hunger and thirst. And he said to her, "If you want to eat, tell me the story of your first time with a man." And unfortunately Lisa agreed while forced, and from so much embarrassment and humiliation, she started telling very private details from her life. And he the whole time was interrupting her and mocking her and belittling her completely. And when she finished her talk, he laughed and said to her that he did not promise her in the first place that he would feed her if she told. And after that the night came a second time, and Lisa was dying of hunger and cold and also could not sleep. And while searching she found a lighter and lit a small fire with it to warm herself. And she kept gathering all the papers and flammable things to maintain the fire. And in the middle of these things she found the veil of her white wedding dress. And she kept looking at it with all sadness and then threw it in the fire with bitterness. And in the middle of the night, she woke up to a very strange movement and found mice running inside the car. So she got startled and started chasing them away. And in the middle of this chaos, a mouse died under her hands. After that, she lit the fire a second time and thought that if she wanted to live, she must eat anything no matter how disgusting it was, because honestly, hunger is an infidel. So she grabbed the knife and cut a piece of the dead mouse's meat and put it on a stick like that of a tree and started roasting it on the fire. And the next morning, she woke up to the vibration sound of her phone, and she followed the sound and found the phone hidden under the buried tree leaves. So she answered quickly but found the call disconnected, and it was from her sister. And when she tried to call her again, Jack appeared suddenly and interrupted the moment for her. And Jack returned with the stupid smile on his face and said to her that he found the cabin he talked about. And this time the owners of the cabin returned, and they turned out to be a family of 4 people, and they were even having a party. And the way he spoke was very terrifying, and she became sure that he definitely did a disaster to them and killed them. And Jack's eye fell on the dissected mouse and the one that was played with. So he smiled and felt satisfaction that Lisa started relying on herself and turning into a monster to survive. And Jack had brought with him a toolbox and said to her with all pride that he fixed the iron fence that her car hit on the road, meaning anyone who would pass would not suspect even for one moment that an accident happened here. And with that, the hope of her survival became zero. And Lisa was boiling with anger and cursing him in secret. And suddenly a second call came to her, and the 2 of them attacked the phone at the same time. And Lisa tried with all her strength to reach it, but unfortunately Jack was faster and took it and looked in the call list and reassured himself that she did not call the police. and in 1 second, he threw the mobile on the ground and stepped on it with his foot and destroyed it completely. And Lisa kept begging him and crying and telling him to leave her and go. So Jack, with complete coldness, opened the toolbox and took out from it a hammer and a nail gun and an iron saw, and looked at her and said to her, "If you really want to get out of here, cut this stuck leg of yours with the saw." And indeed, he left the saw for her and walked away with cold blood. And Lisa kept looking at the saw with fear and tears and grabbed it while trembling and put it on her leg to see from where she would cut. But she could not from the terror, and her body shivered, and she did not have the heart to do that. And she thought that if she cut the iron that was squeezing her leg first with the saw, she might save her leg. And indeed, she started sawing the iron. But unfortunately, the saw blade broke and came out of its place. And with that, her plan unfortunately failed. And the night came and the world started raining hard, and she did not have a drop of water to drink. So she took out the empty bottles and collected the rain water in them and drank. And after a bit, she spotted the light of a car that stopped up on the road, and she feared that Jack had returned a second time. And here a very smart idea came to her, and she took the blood of the dead mouse and its meat and put it on her leg so that it would appear as if she really cut her leg, and the blood flooded the place. And she pretended to be unconscious and held her breath completely. And Jack came down and looked at her, and when he saw the scene and the blood and the meat, he thought that she really cut her leg and that she fainted from the severe pain. And he was impressed by her courage and rejoiced from inside her very, very much. And he entered half of his body inside the car to see if she was still alive or dead. And as soon as he got close to her, Lisa attacked him with all her strength and stabbed the knife into his body. And Jack screamed from the pain and moved away from her. And at that moment, Lisa snatched the car key and pressed the alarm button and threw the key far into the forest. And Jack's car kept making a sound up on the road. So Jack got startled and feared that this sound would gather people on him. And for that reason, he left her and ran to his car and opened the hood and kept cutting the wires until the alarm stopped. And at that time, other cars passed, but he did not ask for help and no one stopped for him. And suddenly a police car appeared from afar. So Jack got tense but composed himself and acted completely natural. And the police stopped and asked him if he had a problem. So Jack lied to him and said to him that he lost the key and could not start the car, and asked the officer to take him to his house to bring the spare key and return. And indeed, the officer believed him and agreed. And down in the forest, Lisa heard the sound of the police siren and rejoiced very much and said that this was her last chance. So she stepped on the horn with all her strength. And the horn hit one very strong hit, but from so much rainwater it broke and went silent and did not make another sound at all. And the officer heard the sound and looked from above the cliff, but the world was pitch black and raining, flooding the trees, and nothing at all was visible. And Lisa was screaming below, but the sound of the rain was louder than her scream. And her hope was lost when she saw the police car driving and taking Jack with it. And Lisa collapsed completely and knew that no one would save her, and she must rely on herself, otherwise she would die here. And the rain increased very much, and the place she was in was a dry riverbed. So it started filling with water at a terrifying speed until the water entered inside the car and submerged half of her body. And if she stayed like that, the car would be covered with water and she would be buried in it alive. And in the moment of confrontation with death, the desire for life won inside Lisa, and she decided to do what she was afraid of. And she tied her leg with a strong rope to reduce the bleeding and grabbed the broken saw weapon. And with tears and screams that shook the forest, she started sawing into the bone of her leg. But suddenly the strong water current moved the car from its place, and it started drifting with the flood while she was inside it, until it reached a very high waterfall and the car fell from it. And with the terrible impact and the collision with the ground below, Lisa's leg finally freed from the stuck iron and came out. But unfortunately, it came out completely battered. And Lisa did not delay a second and got out of the car and swam until she reached the shore. And honestly, she survived death by a miracle. And after she rested a bit, she got up and walked until she reached the cabin that Jack talked about. And she remembered his words about the family living here and feared that he did something to them. And Lisa crept and looked from the window and was shocked when she found a man tied to the bed and trying to free himself. So she knew that Jack really committed a crime. And she looked from a second window and found a second man tied to a chair and Jack standing torturing him with the nail gun. And this man was none other than the poor officer who brought him here. So Lisa thought of entering to help him, but hesitated because she was battered and had no weapon with her, and she might die too. So she waited for the appropriate moment and did not do anything. And after a bit, silence prevailed in the place. So Lisa entered quietly and was shocked when she found 4 corpses thrown in the living room. And she spotted a gun on the table, so she took it quickly and entered the second room and found a girl tied to the bed, and she was the only one still alive. So she signaled to her to be quiet and started untying her. And suddenly she heard Jack's steps entering, so she hid behind the door. And Jack entered and sat next to the girl and started talking in his disgusting style and extending his hand and touched her hair. So Lisa could not hold herself and came out and fired at him. But unfortunately the bullet did not hit him, and they attacked each other in a death fight. And the girl freed herself quickly and ran to help Lisa immediately, and they started hitting him together. And in the middle of the fight, Lisa dug her finger into the old wound in Jack's body. And at that time, he screamed from the severe pain and lost all his strength. And the girl and Lisa ran to escape. And the girl went down below, and Lisa went up to the second floor and hid under the bed. And Jack kept searching for them, but did not find anyone. So he went out to the balcony to look outside and thought that they escaped into the forest, so he decided to jump from the balcony to the ground. But as soon as his feet touched the ground, he screamed a scream that shook the whole place. And Lisa came down to look and found Jack's leg entered into a big iron animal hunting trap, and it closed on his leg and broke it. And Jack was literally writhing from the pain. And Lisa looked at him with a victory smile and said to him, "Now you know what the feeling is like." And she threw the small knife to him and said to him with all confidence, "You messed with the wrong person." And she took the girl by her hand, and they walked and left him to face his fate alone. And up to here the events of our story today end. Wait for me in new videos and summaries.